So I spent the past couple months working on the rust repairs on my E30, but I figured it's finally time for an upgrade. So I bought a new differential. So you may be thinking, hey, doesn't this car not run? Doesn't it need a lot more work before it will run again? Why am I going around buying upgrade parts now instead of just focusing on getting it running and driving? Well, this car started life as a 325e, which means it had the 2.7 liter motor that only revved up to, I think, 4,500, or maybe that's right about where the red line started. Definitely didn't really go above 5,000 RPMs. And now, and for a while, I've had the 325i 2.5 liter engine in. And unfortunately, the diff that is still on this car is the stock diff that came with the 325e 2.7 liter engine. So it's somewhere, I think it's either a 273 or 293. Either way, not designed for the new 2.5 liter engine that I have in here. And going on that, it's an open differential. So again, not really what I'm looking for out of the car. So changing this to something that is designed to be paired with the 2.5 liter engine, it's just going to make the car a lot better and, make it more like how it was designed to be driven. So what exactly did I pick up? Well, this is a 410 LSD, so limited slip differential from BMW. It's stock, and it's definitely less crusty than the one currently in the car. We'll see that as I take it out. The only thing is this is not the right cover, so the cover that's on the car currently, I'll transfer over and get locked into this one. But yeah, this is the shortest, I guess, gear ratio that I think the E30s could come with. So it'll definitely give me a lot of low-end torque. Good for autocross, good for the short course that we have here. And I think a lot of the Pro 3 guys will either use this or they'll put it in custom gears. But the 410 definitely gives me a better place to perform either on autocross or on the track over the stock differential that I have in there. So with that, it's time to get the other one out, get the cover transferred over to this one, and then I'm gonna just try to clean this up as best as I can without having to crack everything apart and fully rebuild and reseal it. So just get it a little bit more presentable and get this slapped back in the car. First task is definitely spraying some rust penetrant all over the bolts. I think there's this big one where the bushing is, and then I think there's 4 across the top, and then I don't know what it is, six on either side for the little half shafts. Yeah, let's loosen some stuff up. Got the big can now. Car's on the ground to break these bolts loose. Got a few on the other side. I'm going to get a few on this side and then wheel the car, be able to access the rest of them. But they're coming out with a little bit of force. I'm either breaking them loose with this long breaker bar when I can pull up, but if I have to push down, I don't really get enough leverage. So my handy dandy leverage device, and then I can kick that, and that's been breaking them loose. And then I zip them out a little bit. We'll take them all the way out once they're back up in the air. So I got all the half shaft bolts loose on both sides, got the car back up in the air. Haven't run them out yet. I just want to leave them in there for now. I think what I'm gonna have to do is get some zip ties or some wire to basically support the half shafts, probably on the sway bar once I get that loose, and then I'm gonna start working. Can't really see it. Not really too much you can see on camera for this one, but the 4 bolts across the top of the diff. This is like my NASCAR cutaway car. Basically, this bolt, there's 2 on each, there's, obviously 1 on either side. And then this one down here, they all, I think, connect to the subframe. So that's what I'm working on now. And you can see it's quite dirty under there. Maybe I should start wearing gloves. Well, both of the, I guess the lower bolts, we'll call them, I have the head portion of them. Definitely the one on the passenger side was, I guess, broke far enough down. I can pry it and it feels a little bit loose. The driver's side, still pretty tight. Now I'm working on the higher bolts, which definitely look, I guess, less corroded, but they're still in there pretty good, and I can't get a socket on them. So in the pile here somewhere, this one, no. Somewhere in this pile, I have my 19 mil wrench, and I'm using this 3-pound sledge to just tap it, and it actually is spinning, so I think I'm getting somewhere. A few more to go on this side, then I'll start on this side, and then definitely get something under the diff just to support it. So I'm definitely keeping one hand on the end of the wrench just to make sure it stays flush in there as I hit it. And I've probably got almost 3/4 of a turn smacking it, so yeah, I can do this by hand now. A couple of little baby turns in there. Time to start working on the diff bushing. I need to use a wrench to hold the back side, and then I'm going to try to turn the front side. Let's get our other sides situated with my leverage bar. Probably end up buying new hardware on everything just because I snapped 2 bolts, so why put almost 40-year-old rusty corroded hardware back in? All right, I think a little bit of prying, it might come loose. I'm still a little cautious about what's going on the top on the driver's side, but you might ask, hey, how'd you get that bolt out? How'd you get that piece out if the bolt's still in? I think the subframe might have ripped. Ooh. Looks like I'm gonna have to get a new rear subframe. This whole time, dropping the gas tank, dropping this, working my brake lines that I did a while back. It has all been done to avoid dropping the rear subframe just because I know those bolts are going to be extremely corroded into place. But it turns out in the end, I'm going to have to drop it anyway. All right, let's finish getting this out of the way. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera now. And we're pulling to this side. All right, that's out. Perfect. I can work with that. To the floor. I have always liked to joke about this diff looking like it's been at the bottom of the ocean for a while. I mean, look at those layers of flakes of rust on top. Obviously, it's like that on both sides. Yeah, it's rusty. So the plan for the new diff is going to be to get the cover off of the old diff, put that on there, and then use like a wire brush to try to clean up the diff as best as possible. And then I have a kit from POR or POR 15, whatever we want to call it, that should be used to clean up and then paint the casing to make it a nice solid, I think it's a gloss black kit, but that'll be what I'll do to kind of get it prepared. It's not going to go right back in the car, but I'll get it ready for reinstallation eventually. Look, I know it may seem like I break a lot of bolts, but I think it's just the condition of the car. Took this bolt out here, and the washer broke. I had nothing to do with that washer, and it still broke. I am interested to see if I can clean up the tag and see what the tag actually said, but that thing looks so corroded, I don't think there's going to be any numbers left on it. So it's not perfect so far, but I did knock off a lot of rust. You can see around the floor and my legs. They're quite dirty. It's looking a lot better, actually. There's still some kind of grime down in the fins, but the kit that I bought has a degreaser, so I'm going to go ahead and prep that up, and then basically I think you just brush it on and then agitate it in place and then see if that cleans it up any. So I'm going to go ahead, probably take this outside so that I can rinse it off, and yeah, get the degreaser put on the diff. So after actually going through and cleaning the best I could of the outside of the diff case, I went ahead and popped the flange off. Obviously the back cover's off. I left this one on just because I couldn't get the bolt off, so I don't have to worry about, I think you have to like retension it if you take that off. But yeah, got the sides out. That came out of it. But yeah, now I'm gonna apply this rust preventer, and hopefully they claim that this can should be enough for 2 coats. So I'll get a brush and just start painting it on. And hopefully it doesn't run down the case, but it's all prepped and ready to go. It does feel like something I should have some gloves for, but all out right now, and we're just gonna get to painting. I guess because this was kind of a rust preventer, kind of almost like an undercoat, I was really expecting it to be a lot thicker and a lot harder to smear in, but it's pretty, I guess, watery and easy to paint on, but it's not running too far, so it mostly staying where I'm putting it. Okay, give that a little bit of time and I'll put a second coat on. And just like that, I have my second coat on. Gonna probably let that dry overnight and then start assembling it just enough to get this back on, get the flanges back on, clean up the cover, and then that'll just about be it for now. I've rotated the car, but the diff's not going to go in just yet. I'm going to do some rust repair on the side, and obviously I saw that the subframe was broke, so I'm going to have to drop that, weld that back together, and then the diff, the subframe, probably at that time also the gas tank, all that stuff can go back in together. Nothing too crazy here, but I figured before I go ahead and put everything back together, especially some of my hardware is pretty nasty, just take a little bit of time, see if I can scrub it up with just a basic kind of detergent and a brush. Got some goodies to try and just see what I can do to clean it up a little bit before putting it back together. Obviously, not painting this, not making this look super nice, but a little bit better than what it is now would be ideal. It's my makeshift parts washer. So the parts definitely aren't too clean, but you can see my water got pretty nasty, so I got a little bit off, but they're a lot crustier than I originally figured. So I think that's gonna probably be it. And then I'll get everything ready to go back together. I'm hoping this part's gonna be pretty satisfying, removing the tape. Probably gonna be a little stuck on here. Probably should have moved it before everything got super dry. Getting everything back together now. It kind of feels like a half project just because I know the differential is not going back into the car just yet. But I want to, keep things as finished as possible, but I know there's probably going to be some fine tuning towards the ends. So that's going to be kind of my ending point for now. The casing of the diff obviously looks a ton better, and it's going to be the better ratio going back in the car. I still might end up cleaning these a little bit better. Obviously, this could use better cleaning. Few things left that I have to do. I want to go and clean the threads in this hole. I just really don't like how the threads are and the bolt doesn't go in easily. I still need to put a gasket in here. Obviously, this bushing is going to get replaced. Just a few more small things to do for it. I'm basically putting together a list of everything I need for a lot of the car as I work through it. And then I'll place one big order, do my final touches as I put everything back together. Yeah, I think the casing definitely looks a lot better, and I'm happy with how that turned out. I am excited to get the car back together to see just how much of a difference this differential is going to make in driving. I'm excited, to get back to autocross. Got a lot of work to go until I get to that point, but yeah, checking one thing off with cleaning the differential and on to the next task.